Hi, I'm Randy McEnespy, and this is my wife, Debbie, and we're life group coaches here at Real Life Ministries. And we're here to talk to you guys and equip you on leading life groups through this particular season.
Yep. So what we want to just talk to you about is our life groups are more important than ever right now. We want to encourage you and give you some direction and tools to help you lead through this season.
Life groups are the heart and soul of our church, and it's kind of the center of everything that we do. Many of our people right now are feeling isolated, they're hurting and afraid, and they're being barraged with negativity and hopelessness. As a life group leader, you're kind of their lifeline to spiritual truth. Your life group is their spiritual family. In this season, it's more important than ever that we stay connected with one another.
So I want to talk a little bit about connection. And we want to connect inside and outside a group. So I want to talk a little bit about connecting to outside a group. So I feel like right now we have two different tools that we can do that. One is Zoom and one is our phone. So I've been using the phone a lot with connection. And when I call my ladies, I ask them how they're doing, and they're like, fine, everything's fine. And then I start opening up and sharing what God is doing in my heart and how He is shaping me and some of the struggles that I'm having in this difficult season that we're in. And then they start opening up, and they really start talking and processing, and they need to process. And I don't let them process so they go down the rabbit hole. But I do let them process a little bit, and then I bring them back to Jesus. And I remind them of who Jesus is, that He is our hope, that this is not a surprise to Him, that He is in control, that He always has a plan, and He's always good. And He is our rock, and He gives us peace, and He loves us. And we are to put our faith in Jesus, not in our circumstances. So I point them back to who Jesus is. And then as spiritual leaders of our group, I think it's really important that we take the initiative with connection. And it starts with you. And I find that in this season, I'm having to be more intentional in this season. I actually have a list of ladies that I connect with every single week to make sure that they're doing okay.
Yeah.
So.
In addition to that, I think it's really important that we as life group leaders and wives are connecting with each member of our group. That's really important, what Debbie said. Additionally, I think it's really important that we encourage our members of our life group leaders to be connecting with one another. We're supposed to be a spiritual family, and that's kind of what it looks like. So that's part of your job as a life group leader, is to encourage your people to be connecting with one another. So, right now we're in this season with COVID-19. We can't meet together, so we're meeting on Zoom. And we have heard that there are people out there that are having a difficult time getting Zoom up and running and getting it connected. And I just want to encourage you, if you're having a problem getting connected on Zoom, or people in your group are, make sure and contact your community pastor or your coach. They're totally available and prepared to help you in that process. Once again, I just want to really emphasize, it's vitally important that we're meeting together. So if you're having a problem using the tools that allow us to meet together, then do something about it. Contact your community pastor.
Yeah. So we want to give you a couple tips as we're using Zoom. The first one is that don't expect life group to look the same as it did when you were sitting in your living room. It's not. Give yourself grace. It's going to look different. There may be some awkwardness. Just lead through it as the best you can do.
That's right. The next tip is that we've really found in our own life group that utilizing the sermon notes has been very effective. The sermons right now are being created with our current situation in mind. So the discussions are very appropriate.
Yes.
And it's worked very well for our group. I suggest that for your group. And the third thing is to try, as leaders, try to avoid asking questions to the entire group as a whole. Where that technique works very well when we're meeting face to face. It doesn't work so well on Zoom. At least it hasn't for our group. What I mean by that is when you ask a question of the group, instead of directing it generally to the entire group, pick out 2 or 3 individuals and ask the question. Pick one, ask them the question, say, what do you think about this? Then maybe, bounce that off a couple other people. But don't open it up to the entire group. Also be prepared to redirect the answers. If people come back with something that, is kind of sending the group into a spiral, bring that discussion back to Jesus. And, just remember that the goal here is to get people to process and acknowledge that this life isn't all there is and that Jesus is still in control, and we can bring them back to that.
Yep. So our last tip is that we are finding that the quieter get quieter. So in this season, and they said to just sit back, maybe talk behind their spouse and really not say a lot. So just make sure that you're aware of that, and that you might not be able to call them out, right? But you just engage them, acknowledge that they're there, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Don't put them on the spot, but make them feel welcome, make them feel part of the group. Also, I just want to encourage you leaders just to continue doing what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Your role is vitally important. Your leadership and commitment to Jesus and his people is admirable, and we thank you for it. What you're doing is really making a difference in people's lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continue doing it.